Welcome to It's UATL, your unscripted weekly dose of Black culture straight from the heart of Atlanta. I'm Nedra Roan, and I'm here with Deasia Page. Hey, Deasia, how you doing?
Hey, I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good. Naja Parker will join us in just a bit for our interview. But first, if you missed it, this past weekend was Atlanta Pride. You know, Atlanta's been a safe haven for the queer community for decades, especially for Black queer folks. And today's guest is a beautiful reflection of that fact. So today we have Angela Denise Davis. No, not that Angela Davis. We're talking about the creative director of ZAMI NOBLA, the National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging. ZAMI NOBLA started in Atlanta, but has been expanding to other cities in the South. Angela's been with ZAMI NOBLA since it started in 2011. It was founded by her partner, Marianne Adams. Angela helps shape the organization's vision and programs, and she even runs their music initiative, teaching members how to play the ukulele. So, Deasia, you're the one who brought this topic to us.
Yes.
And you wrote a story as part of UATL's Black Mecca series that came out this past weekend. So tell us a little bit about your story and how you first heard of ZAMI NOBLA.
Yeah, so my story basically explores whether Atlanta is still this Black queer Mecca. And basically it is.
Okay, confirmed.
No shocker there. But there are some challenges along the way. And one of the challenges was sort of paying more attention to our Black queer elders. And that's where ZAMI NOBLA kind of steps in. And when I heard about the group, I was actually attending Black Pride in Atlanta, which occurs during Labor Day weekend. And one of the members of ZAMI NOBLA was on a panel along with, T.S. Madison, talking about different challenges facing the community at that time. And I just was so fascinated that there was this group based in Atlanta specifically for Black lesbians over the age of 40, which I just thought it was so cool. I've never heard of anything like that before, but it's just so interesting and fascinating to me. And when I heard about it, I was like, of course, this is based in Atlanta. Where else will it be based? So I wanted to learn more about that group. And
what was interesting about the group to you?
I like that they sort of have just their own community. They do like the spiritual collective, like every Sunday, like this very sacred space.
Sister Harriet Spiritual Collective.
And then also the ukulele ensemble, Sister Harriet ensemble. That was pretty cool. And then they also do like community gardening and they also do research. So it's just like, well, wow, like, can I be 40?
Don't wish for that. Take your time.
Right. But it's just so cool that there's this space for queer elders, because I do think that, and this is one of the things that Marianne Adams told me in my interview with her, was that, the queer space in Atlanta is very youth oriented. And it's like when you get a certain age, people think that you're just non-existent or just not important. So you don't really see many spaces for our queer elders. And I feel like sometimes they do get forgotten, just like people who are aging get forgotten in general. But especially when you're queer, that's a whole nother layer to it.
Right.
So I think...
And then be a Black woman who's queer.
Exactly. So I just feel like it was so powerful to see these women joining forces together and just saying, hey, like, no, like, we're here and, we're not really going anywhere. And so I like that this group is kind of giving a voice to this demographic.
So without further ado, welcome, Angela. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So first, can you tell us about the name of the organization?
Most people will recognize ZAMI as a word from Audre Lorde's biomythography, ZAMI, a new spelling of my name, which is a word that represents women who work together as friends and lovers. And NOBLA came together because ZAMI, which was a premier organization in Atlanta for a number of years for Black lesbians, and our executive director, Marianne Adams, discovered that we were all aging. And the visibility of Black lesbians, older Black lesbians in queer spaces, was really needing a boost. And so out of that came the National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging, but keeping our history of ZAMI and putting it together as ZAMI NOBLA.
I'm curious how that recognition of aging came.
Well, so Marion came to Atlanta in 1988 and was very active in the queer community. And as we all age, which is a gift, you realize that as you come out of your 40s into your 50s, that you're not seen in the way that younger people are, especially in the queer community, and especially as talking about Black women, older Black women. And so not seeing yourself in spaces was one way of saying, oh, we need to be visible in these spaces. And knowing that no one does your work for you but you. So out of that recognition that we just weren't included in so many of these spaces, we knew that we had to create an organization that really centered and focused on our lives so that we could build community and offer a space for Black lesbians to be together in community and do work that's meaningful in the world.
Did you feel that was active exclusion, or was it just...
I'll add to that. What were you being excluded from?
You know, I think when you think about just what it means to be a person in the world who has various intersections, thinking about race, thinking about gender, thinking about social orientation, and for me as a person who's legally blind, thinking about issues of ability and disability. When you look at certain opportunities and see that, oh, okay, well, there's this event and I don't see any older people there, or you're at a gay march or a gay event, a pride, where are the older people? Where are the older Black women? You're at a club or you're someplace and people are just amazed that as an older person, you have the audacity to show up.
Come to a club. We like the club too.
Hey, I still want to have fun. Hey, what are you doing here? You know, who told you you're able to come in after 9 p.m., you know? So looking at community-based research, where are Black lesbians in research and who's doing that? So ZAMI NOBLA realized that, and we are part of some really phenomenal research that focuses on older Black lesbian. Looking at the pod sphere, in 2018, we developed the ZAMI NOBLA podcast. And it came about because I love podcasts, I love radio, and I was listening to all these incredible podcasts, and I said, wait, but where are we? Mm-hmm. I can see a queer podcast. I see a podcast for Black women. I see a podcast for women. But where is the voice, the space for older Black lesbians? And out of that, we created the podcast. We've been doing it for 7 years now, have over 65 episodes of incredible women who have contributed their story to our archive of Black lesbian history.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned from all of this research?
Just one thing.
Just one thing. Oh my gosh.
In this very complex topic.
I think I've learned how much the reality of isolation affects the lives we can live and do live. So many women are isolated and don't have access to resources within their own community, to gather together as a group, to form partnerships, to find the validation that makes it possible for us to thrive in the world. And we often forget just how profound of an effect it is to be isolated, especially as you age. And so one of the things we've really been hoping to do is to create a warm line where we can connect and just find ways of being in communion with each other, not as a therapeutic intervention, but as a social intervention that really helps end the role that isolation plays in so many lives of people in general, but especially older Black lesbians.
Can you talk a little bit about the significance of ZAMI NOBLA starting in Atlanta?
Well, of course, we started here because we are here. And I think that's something that people need to relish wherever you are. You know, put your hoe in the ground and start digging because your soil is viable. I was born in Wichita, Kansas, and I moved around a lot. But I came here in 1988 to go to Clark, right on the cusp of Clark College and Clark Atlanta University. And Atlanta, you know, coming from Wichita was like, yeah. Wow, this is an amazing space.
It's a lot of Midwest energy in here right now.
Yeah.
We're all from the Midwest.
I'm from Memphis.
Sorry, there's an outlier. I forgot.
But we embrace you nonetheless.
You lived in Chicago.
I did live in Chicago.
Okay,
That's
well,
fair.
there you go.
You're right.
There you go. That counts, right? That counts.
Forgot. Sorry, Nasha. I'm sorry. I got
I
you
gave
off
you the
track
meanest
there.
eye.
You did. You gave me some horrible side eye. My bad.
But I came to Atlanta from Wichita, and it's this incredible hub where when you think about doing community organizing, it's a wonderful place to extend your tentacles because it's centrally located, and ZAMI NOBLA really is committed to be deeply rooted in the South. There's a lot of good soil here and a lot of ground where some incredible things have happened. And it just seems to be the right place to build out this wonderful organization where we're really looking at focusing on the lives of older Black lesbians.
The AJC has been exploring Atlanta's reputation as a Black mecca. It's an ongoing series. Where do you think Atlanta stands as a Black mecca for the queer community?
I do see this as being a mecca. I think the danger is that we rest in that and we take it for granted, as opposed to realizing that we do have an incredible history, and Atlanta has an incredible Black queer history. We have to build upon that history and that herstory and really not just take it for granted, oh, I'm in Atlanta and things are fine, but realizing that Atlanta is not Georgia. And there are so many other places in the state, in the rural aspects of Georgia, that need some of the Atlanta light and love that we have. So I think the goal really is to understand, yes, it's a mecca. Yes, it's a place where so many people feel free. But how do we kind of massage that out, outside the city limits into other parts of the state where people really are isolated and need some of that love, need some of that joy?
I love that. What are your firsthand sort of experiences with feeling some of that isolation?
So this is a recent story. We have formed a band.
Wait a minute now. Do they perform? Can we see?
Yes, we do perform. And the band is called The She. It stands for the Sister Harriet Ensemble. And it came out of our Sister Harriet Spiritual Collective. We had our first performance about 3 weeks ago, and it was at the neighborhood church here in Atlanta. And afterwards, a woman came up to me, and she shared her story, and she spoke to me about how the podcast had been such a lifeline to her. We often think that coming out is something that is in the domain of teenagers and 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds. We don't think about the 60, 70, 80-year-olds who are coming out. And she had been struggling for a number of decades. And she told me, your podcast, it was like a connection. I didn't feel isolated. I felt like there was community, and it saved me. Those were her words, not mine. It saved me. And I love hearing stories like that because it makes me understand just how important the work I do. I don't have the glory of this type of studio when I'm doing my podcast. It's just me, my mic, and somebody on the other end.
But the impact.
Yes, yeah. The impact.
That's what matters.
The impact. And you sometimes wonder, is this getting through? Mic check, is anyone here? And you realize when people come up to you like that, oh, it is getting through, and it does make a difference, and we do need to be more visible.
I want to hear more about the band. Tell, what kind of band is it? What are the instruments? How many people?
Gosh. So it's 4 of us. And the band came out of, like I said, the Sister Harriet Collective, which is an opportunity for members of ZAMI NOBLA to be in sistership once a week. And I had facilitated the Sister Harriet Collective a number of years ago, from 2010 to 2016, out of my own need as an ordained minister to have a space that was not relegated to one religion. It was not religious at all. It was just a spiritual space where queer women could come together. And so we started it up again in March. And I knew coming back into it this time that this was going to be about music, because I understood that the quote-unquote ministry with a small m that I was offering to the world was through music. We started our community music education program in 2019, focusing on the ukulele. And so it was 4 of us now, 2 ukuleles, 1 guitar, and I play the bass.
Wow.
Which I picked up this summer because every ukulele group needs a bass, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
You have to have a bass player. So
you got to ground the sound in something.
Exactly. You need that connection between rhythm and harmony. I am it. So we are forming, we're creating this, and you can't underestimate just the power of what it means to be together in community and in that space and have an opportunity to sing together or just hear some good music.
Okay, so it's time to take a break, but when we come back, Angela talks about how the organization creates space for spirituality.
Can you share a little bit more about Sister Harriet's Spiritual Collective? Just, where did you get the name? How did it start? What are the goals?
So the Sister Harriet Spiritual Collective came about in 2010 when I knew I wanted a space for my partner and I to be together in a place of spiritual reflection. And she is not a person of faith. And at the time, I was an ordained minister. And so I really wanted something that spoke to her deep spiritual commitment to the world. And I also knew that there were other Black lesbians I was in conversation with who said, you know what? I'm just tired of going to my church and my pastor tells me I'm unlovable every Sunday. And I couldn't understand, even in Atlanta with all these mega churches, how some people would just sit up underneath a pastor who would say, you're going to hell, blah, 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 blah. That's not life-giving. That's not life-affirming. So I really wanted a space that spoke to the power of being loved and showing up. Getting to a place where you can really say, hey, I'm here, I'm present, I'm here, y'all. And in community, it makes a difference. So it was that place where we came together. There was music, there was poetry. And so women had an opportunity to say, well, this made me think of this. And this is my story. I had something similar to that. What has been so exciting is when we check in every Sunday, there is a sense of what is your joy or concern for the week? And then there's a question I ask them. And they will answer the question. It's usually related to the reflection I give later on in that and the time together. And it is this kind of warm heart space where we've been able to really build some incredible bridges to each other. And because of that, it is restricted to ZAMI NOBLA members, women who align themselves with our membership. Because I had a friend who said, I want to come. I said, girl, you are not queer and you're not a member of ZAMI NOBLA. So I don't think this is for you, but I can give you a word.
I was thinking that in my head, but I had the good sense not to ask.
So no, it is membership based and it is something we do. But out of that, I tell people, listen to our podcast, listen to the stories we tell. I'm eternally grateful that a lot of my guests, they will come, they will share their stories, and it's this amazing thing. And I always say after everyone, that was the best one. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter whether or not you are someone who thinks you don't have a story. Because some women would tell me, I don't have a story. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a lawyer. I said, but you're alive. And my God, what an amazing life you have just breathing on this planet.
Yeah. Who doesn't have a story?
Exactly.
I love the safeguarding of it because just thinking about how queer people are still historically shunned from the church too. So I love the power in keeping it safe. Yeah.
Well, and some people are surprised when we talk about how much energy it takes to scrub from your Facebook page all the negative, hateful things that people say. And so it just makes me believe even more that we need these spaces for us together to, again, be loved, be gracious, be helpful, be hopeful, be joy,
Now tell us about the name, Sister Harriet Spiritual Collective. Where did that come from?
So now we are calling it the Sister Harriet Circle. And you might imagine that the Sister Harriet, of which we speak as Harriet Tubman.
That's where my mind goes.
Yes.
It should go.
Okay, good.
Harriet Tubman, in 2010, when I started this, was just a real guiding light for me. Because there's something about taking a journey and you don't know where you're going to end, but at the end of it, you hope to be free.
I love that.
What has been so profound is the ways in which This idea of journey pops up in culture around Harriet Tubman. And gathering the strength you need to gather now because another journey is ahead. And that really is what Sister Harriet is about.
Life is a series of journeys.
Life is a series of journeys.
So for, I guess, an elder queer who may be, struggling with their identity, like what would you, say to them? What would be your advice?
I would say you're not alone. We hear that in songs. We read that in books. It's a part of poems. You are not alone. And that you are loved. Because knowing that there is a community that makes it possible for you to thrive, and knowing that you are loved, can receive love, and can give love, is the transformation that so many people need, not just for, of course, older Black lesbians, but for everybody, but certainly for our community, where when you turn on the television, when you turn on the radio, when you look at print magazine, when you read stories, so much of it doesn't say anything about you being loved or you being in community. And so I like the idea of shifting that narrative, of shifting those images around race and aging and ability and sexual orientation and class, and say, look at you, aren't you something wonderful? Aren't you amazing? Aren't you lovable and loved? So I think people need to hear that more often for us to rid ourselves of the constant reels that are going on in our mind that tell us every day we are anything but that. You're not alone and you are loved.
I love hearing you say that. We did a Black Love episode.
We did.
And the director that we interviewed, Mara Braka-Keel, said something very similar to me in the interview that I did with her. And she said, if no one tells you that you are beautiful, that you are loved, do you believe it? Do you even know?
Yes.
So it is very important just to say that, to show it in those ways to
and
your
I'm
community.
curious, too, about the first time you heard that and received that message that you are loved.
Well, I've been blessed because I've heard that so many ways in my life ever since I was a young child. But within the context of being a Black lesbian, that was not always the case. I heard other than that. But I think the first time I really heard that, when my partner told me that, I was overwhelmed by it because I knew it was true. But I knew I was also at a place in my life where I was running hard to make that believable in my head. But I was also dealing with the fact that I had been blind for a number of years and that my job situation had changed drastically, that the life I lived prior to my blindness was nothing like I had experienced when I met her. And to really have someone tell you that and to mean it and for you to believe it is transformative. But I would have to go back and probably say what even made that point in time possible was just this real, call it what you want, psychic, spiritual, mystic experience I had when I was trying to figure out whether or not I truly was a lesbian, because, I'd been in ministry for a number of years and is this really who I am? And when I came to a conversation with the divine and said, help me understand, is this who I be?
I hope you said it just like that.
Yeah, is this who I
That's
be?
the way to ask.
Is this who I be?
Straight to the point.
Yeah. And the information I got back was, I know you and I love you. And I haven't looked back since then. So for me, I understand that we just need more places of joy and love to make that possible for other people to hear that within their psyche, their soul, their spirit, to understand, yes, I be love, I be joy, I be hope, understanding how be is this idea of not just today, but it's moving on, moving behind, moving forward. Yes, you be love.
Yeah.
You be love.
How old were you when you had that experience? feel comfortable sharing?
I became blind when I was 33. So I must have been 31 because I made this great leap of understanding who I was. And then a year later, I was legally blind. And it was difficult because I had to, at that point, understand with the help of my therapist that I could not be in the closet and be blind, because as I tease people, I would never find my way out, right? Where's the door? Where's the knob? And every time I would meet with my therapist, she said, well, how's your love life? And I want to say, woman, what you talking about? You don't have a love life. I can't even get out my apartment. And she told me, you have to get out of your four walls because the world is not coming to you. You have to go to it. And that was a struggle for someone who didn't even know how to cross the street safely, because I had no training in cane technique. And I had to really rely upon my community because this blindness came on all of a sudden. I had come back from a trip in Namibia. Within 3 months, I started experiencing vision loss. How do I put all these things together where I am now finding out, who I am and in this incredible community? But I have to also struggle with, but I'm now blind. And how does this work? And I tell people, I know what the bottom of my life feels like because I hit it. And I had to really work my way back up with the help of some angels to find my way home.
Was your blindness triggered by something that happened on the trip, or was it?
Well, they don't know.
Oh.
Initially, when I went in with the symptoms, the doctor said, well, you just have a cold.
What were the symptoms?
I felt like I was having a lot of sinus issues, a lot of head stuff up in here. And I went back home and was in the ER, and they said, you have optic neuritis. And over the next 8 months, I had probably 8 more bouts of optic neuritis.
Yeah, it sounds like the 30s, that seemed to be a pivotal time for you with your identity and your health and divinity and all the things.
Yes.
Them 30s.
Yes.
I'm in my 30s now. Lord have mercy.
Bless you. Bless you.
I feel like it's Saturn, but whatever. That's another episode.
Yeah, they were some interesting times. But there's nothing like being in my 50s. I'm enjoying every day, and I wouldn't go back to 30 or 25. I'm just enjoying. I'm enjoying the confidence of saying, I be.
Yeah.
All of who Angela Denise Davis is. And ain't it a joy? Ain't it a joy? Let's play ukulele and drink some tea. It's that sort of joy of aging. And that's, what I seek to do and ZAMI NOBLA seeks to do is really reshape the narrative that aging is not a death sentence. If you are blessed to do it, it is a gift. Yeah. And so what has this day brought you that yesterday you did not have? And look forward to tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that's a new script, though, of thinking about aging, because so many people think, I'm 50, I'm 60. Well, girl, ain't it a joy? Yeah. It is a joy. So I'm having a ball.
How do you and ZAMI NOBLA celebrate Pride? I know we have a Pride parade in Atlanta in October. Mm-hmm. Then June is Pride Month. And then in September, it's Black Pride in Atlanta. So how does the organization celebrate?
We really do Pride every day, the way in which I think people should do Black history every day, women's history every day. We see Pride as something that's 24/7, 365.
Now, this is the last question. We ask all our guests this. How are you so ATL? I know you're from Wichita, but I know you've been in Atlanta for quite some time.
And you keep coming back, so there must be something here.
I think I am ATL because I represent the people who come here to attend an HBCU, to receive an incredible education. And then we go out, we make a difference in the world, and we come back and hope to do that with other people around us who are coming to the city. I can't begin to express enough of what I received at Clark Atlanta University with all these incredible professors who saw something in this little Black girl from Kansas and said, you be love, you be joy, you be creative, you be gifted, you be one of us. And from that place, I think, is where I best represent ATL as those of us who came to be educated in our HBCUs, and those HBCUs taught me and others that the world really isn't that bad of a place, that we need to be in community and that we can make it, that we have made it. So many of us have made it, and that we can go forward and we can do it, and made it possible for me to shine my little light in ATL and to keep doing that type of work.
Love that. Love that answer. Well, thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you
for joining us.
Thanks for
Really
being
enjoyed
here.
the conversation.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. So we want to hear your take. What did you do for Pride this year? And y'all know Atlanta has like 2 to 3 Prides each year. So let us know what y'all did for any of those. Use your phone's voice recorder to send us a response on Instagram at It's UATL, or email us at uatl@ajc.com. And don't forget to add your name, your age, and where you're from.
Thanks so much for listening to It's UATL.
UATL is a source for Black culture and community in Atlanta. It's powered by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and our supporters. If you're enjoying this podcast, join us as a UATL paid supporter at uatl.com.
And if you like the episode, please follow us and leave us a rating and a review. It really helps. See you next week.